Hello guys. I want to show you right from the start what you will learn to do in this tutorial. We will build a website from scratch, a website with 4 main pages and a few secondary pages. More precisely, we will build a small online store where a limited number of products can be sold. I better show you. We are on the first page, which has several sections, a section dedicated to products recently added to the store, a section with short excerpts from the latest articles, a testimonial section, and a subscription form to the company newsletter. Next, we go straight to the shop, where we find several product categories. All categories lead to secondary pages, where we can view each product individually and order products using the order form. Then we have a page where new articles about fashion are published, and finally, a contact page with another form and a services section. The website is fully responsive. In other words, it adapts to all types of devices. Remember that this tutorial is for people who have absolutely no experience in this field. We start from 0 level and reach the level where you can create websites almost as well as a professional. The condition is to follow the tutorial and practice as much as possible. I am Nikki. I have been working in the field as a freelancer for more than 20 years, and I decided it was time to share my experience with you. I created this tutorial for those who have never written a line of code and want to start a career in web development. Let's get started. We'll start with the basics of HTML, move on to CSS, and then progress to more advanced topics gradually. At the end, we'll focus on optimizing the website for search engines, an extremely important aspect that will ensure the website gets quickly indexed by search engines. Before we begin, we need to install the Google Chrome browser and the Visual Studio Code Editor. I will use these two programs, and it would be preferable if you use the same tools so that you can follow me and work in the same conditions. To install the two programs, open a browser and search for Google Chrome browser. I click on the result to open the page where I can download the browser. Now I will open another tab and search for Visual Studio Code. Access the link and arrive at the page where I can download the code editor. The browser allows us to view websites, and the code editor will help us write HTML, CSS, or any other type of code. Now we open VS Code to make a series of settings. Since we will spend a lot of time in front of the computer, I will show you how to install a more eye-friendly theme. We click on this icon on the left to get to the Marketplace, and in the search box, I'll enter the name of the theme, Forgive Green. It appeared here on the left, and with a single click, more details will be displayed on the right. I click Install and the theme is automatically installed, but to apply this theme, I have to click on the theme name, which appears up here. We need to install 2 other extensions, which will help us see in real time the code we will write in the editor. The first extension is called Live Preview, and I'm going to type the name into the search box. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Click on the extension name and then click Install. The second extension is called Live Server. I'll look for it and install that too. Now, we need to change a setting that will help us see all the text we enter into the document without having to scroll horizontally. To do this, go to File, Preferences, Settings, and in the search box I will enter Editor.WordWrap, and make sure this setting is set to On. For each lesson, I have created a series of files that you need to download to your computer. The download link for the files is in the description of each video. For this first lesson, you don't need to download anything. You still have one more thing to do before you start. Create a folder to keep all your files organized. I created this folder on the desktop and named it Tutorial-HTML-CSS-SEO. In this folder, there is another folder named Lesson 1. Let's open Lesson 1 in Visual Studio Code. To do this, we go to File, Open Folder. I search for the folder and find it very quickly because I know exactly where I put it. I select it and open it. Once opened, you will see the name of the folder at the top left. Now I'm going to click on this icon, which looks like a file and has a plus sign in the bottom right, to create the first HTML file, and we're going to name this file index.html. First, we will create a boilerplate. I do this by typing the exclamation mark and pressing the Tab key. Such a thing is possible due to an extension called Emmet. It is a pre-installed extension in VS Code used to increase productivity and should work for you too. Because sometimes this extension gets disabled, I want to make sure it works for you as well, so let's check if everything is okay. We go back to the marketplace again, and you should already see in the search box, @built-in Emmet. Otherwise search for @built-in Emmet, and then we go to Settings, and make sure that the setting, Trigger Expansion on tab, has the checkbox checked. I just created this code, which I named Boilerplate, containing a basic structure so we don't start entirely from scratch. Later, I will explain each element of this structure. The term boilerplate is borrowed from the industrial world, from boiler manufacturing. In the past, boilers were built from identical steel plates called boilerplates. These standardized steel plates were mass-produced and used in the construction of boilers and other industrial equipment. In programming, the term boilerplate refers to standardized and reusable pieces of code, just like this fragment of code that we will use on every web page. You can download from the internet a PDF file containing examples of the Emmet syntax. Open a browser again and search for Emmet cheat sheet PDF download. You can download this PDF to your computer to study it at your own pace and familiarize yourself with the syntax. I will copy a random line and paste it into the code editor. Press the Tab key and see how quickly we can introduce various HTML elements into the document. You will see that HTML is quite easy to understand and learn. Let's see some HTML tags that we put between the body tags. Let's start with the paragraph. The P element is essential for structuring text on web pages. I type P and press Tab. What we see now are two HTML tags, an opening tag and a closing tag. The closing tag has an extra slash before the letter P. If we put some text between the two tags, like the sentence, I am a paragraph, this entire line formed by the two tags and the text in the middle becomes an HTML element. It is a block type tag, which means it takes up the entire available width of the parent container. In this example, the parent container is represented by the body tags. To understand what a block type tag is, we open Live Server, one of the extensions we installed earlier. At the bottom right, click on Goliv, and a new window will open, a browser window, where we will see the text between the HTML tags. I will arrange the windows a bit so we can see better. Right-click and select Inspect or press the F12 key to open the developer tools, and I will click once on this small square with an arrow on the left side and then hover over the text. Without clicking, just hold the cursor over the text. We see that although there is little text, it takes up an entire line, the blue line. This is the behavior of a block type element. Let's move on and introduce another tag. I type B and press Tab, and I will introduce the sentence, I just want to draw attention. The B tag is used to display text in bold. It is an inline element, which means it does not start on a new line and does not take up the entire available width of the parent container. We can see in Inspector that an inline element only takes up the space needed to display its content. This tag is used for visual emphasis without adding additional meaning to the text. I tell you this because the next tag is similar but still different. I type strong, press Tab key, and I will enter the text, I am very important. The strong tag is essential for signaling the importance of certain parts of the text, providing both visual and semantic emphasis. It is also an inline tag, and it can be clearly seen that it stands next to the bold tag, and both elements only take up the space needed to display their content. Let's move on to the H1 tag. The H1 tag is used to define level 1 headings. In HTML, headings are defined with the H1 to H6 tags. They are used to create titles and subtitles in web pages, making content more organized and easier to navigate. I type H1, press Tab key, and I will enter the text, very important title. It is the most important title on a web page, and I will tell you more about it later in this course. Let's see now what the BR tag does. The BR tag is used to insert a new line in the text, similar to pressing the Enter key. It is a self-closing element and does not require a closing tag. To demonstrate what this tag does, I will create a paragraph with several lines of text and insert multiple BR tags. I add a paragraph, type lorem 25, and press Tab key. This creates a paragraph with 25 words in Latin. This way, we can add dummy text to the document to temporarily fill the space on a page when the real content is not ready because it has not been finished or received from the client. Now I will add multiple BR tags. I'll add one above, somewhere around here, and 3 more below. As you can see, each BR element added pushes the text down one line. Let's move on to the button tag. I type button, press Tab key, and I will enter the text, button. The button tag, it is used to create interactive buttons on a web page. It is an inline element and can contain text, images, or even other HTML elements. I will also add a button that contains a paragraph. I will enter the text, button, with paragraph. And finally, the last tag I introduce in this lesson is the anchor tag. I type A and press Tab key. The A tag in HTML is used to create hyperlinks, also known as links. These hyperlinks can connect different documents, websites, or even different parts of the same document. This is one of the most commonly used tags in HTML due to its essential role in connecting content on the web. We notice something different from other tags, the href attribute. Href, it stands for Hypertext Reference. In general, attributes modify how an HTML element behaves. I will enter the URL that opens the google.com page https://www.google.com. I will also add some text that we can see and access. Link to Google. Link to Google is the anchor text, the clickable text in a hyperlink. This text is usually highlighted in a different color and is often underlined to indicate that it's a link. The syntax for an attribute is attribute name plus attribute value. The value is always written in double quotes. HTML tags can have multiple attributes. Another characteristic attribute of the anchor tag is the target attribute, which specifies where to open the document when the user clicks the link. The target attribute can have several values. For example, the value _blank will open the page in a new window. I'm going to add the target attribute with the value _blank. Target equal double quotes, and inside the double quotes I'm going to put the value _blank. Let's click the link to see what happens. Now, let's change the attribute value to _self. This value will have a different behavior. This time, if we click the link, we notice that the page will open in the same window. I must mention that the two attributes used for the anchor tag cannot be used for the paragraph tag or other HTML tags. Each HTML tag has its own set of attributes that you will learn gradually. We stop here with this short introduction to the HTML language, and I will make a series of very important clarifications about HTML syntax and certain behaviors. As you can see on the page, we have several types of HTML tags and a series of characters, angle brackets, and slashes. All the characters used are part of the syntax. HTML is not considered a strict markup language, but it is important to follow the syntax rules to ensure that documents are displayed correctly in all browsers. If you forget to close certain tags, the browser will try to interpret the code and correct it as much as possible, but this can lead to unexpected behaviors and incorrect display of pages. Additionally, HTML is a hierarchical markup language, and it is read from top to bottom, line by line, so the order in which we write is important. Now I will make a lot of mess in the document to illustrate a few things. First, I will slightly change the order of the elements. I will add more spaces everywhere. And I will randomly press Enter. I did this because I want you to notice that multiple blank spaces and line breaks are generally treated as a single space. The browser will ignore additional spaces and display the text as if there is only one space between words. Now I will clean up the document because it doesn't look very good. I will right-click and click on Format Document, and look how nice it looks now. Notice that the lines of code are indented for easier identification, and if I remember correctly, the first time I installed VS Code, the indentation was set to 4 spaces, which is a bit too much. So, I will show you how to reduce the indentation to just 2 spaces. Click on the gear icon in the bottom left corner of the VS Code window, then select Settings from the menu. In the search bar at the top of the Settings window, type Tab Size and change the indentation mode to 2 spaces. That's it for the first lesson. I hope you liked it and it wasn't really that difficult. In the next lesson, we discuss about CSS and start to style an HTML element. The button element. Goodbye and happy learning.